welcome to Florida Mint on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron. The podcast where Floridians discuss the crazy but true stories that always seem to take place in Florida.
TGIFMOFMPRD, like I always say.
What is that? What is that?
Someone sent it to me.
Okay.
Thank God it's Florida Man on Florida Man podcast release day.
Come
Amen.
on.
I love it.
They were going to get it as a tattoo.
Bless
and I was
you.
like,
Yeah.
Let's start that hashtag.
TGIFMOFMPRD.
Yeah, let's start it.
Okay.
I'm going to
That's
get it right
cool.
across my shoulder blades.
Yeah.
That looked
tattoo.
good.
That would
Got
look
a lot
really
of
good.
competition back there, though, with your angel wings.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And you're double stuffed only.
Yeah.
Tattoo.
Yum.
So it's been a fantastic week. We appreciate you guys writing in and doing all the great things you do.
Yeah.
And sending in headlines nonstop.
Yeah. All the time.
It makes Cameron's job difficult sorting through them all.
I know. I can't keep up. There's too many of them. Okay. So our first headline today.
Ooh, this is it. This is
This
what
is
we
it.
wait all week for, to come in here and to do this.
Yep.
And to hear this headline.
I'm ready.
This headline was sent to us from Tyler in Kansas City.
Hey, Tyler.
Kansas. I don't know if it's
I think
Kansas City,
it's-
Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri, because there's two
Oh.
different ones.
Oh, whoa. Who knew?
Just depends on what side of. I think there's a river that's. I don't know.
You
I
learned
don't read
something
anything outside of Florida.
there? Same here.
Anyways, Florida man posed as a handyman
Okay.
to rob the elderly.
Hey, man.
He then flees the state
Okay.
and is found posing as a pastor collecting hurricane relief funds.
What in the world?
Wow.
That's a great movie.
That was a whirlwind.
That's going to be a
That
great
was
movie one day.
Mud. I think that was the movie.
Yeah,
Mud.
yeah, yeah. I never saw it, but probably. All right, so Russell Bannister.
Ooh, what a name.
Yeah, it sounds
A Bannister always pays his debts.
That's true.
He does.
That's true.
He does.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Russell is a handyman scam artist
Okay.
Okay.
Shame on you.
who
I feel like a handyman scam artist whenever I try to do home repairs.
Yeah.
you're scamming yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not getting fixed right.
No.
So Russell ended up stealing about $21,000 from several victims over about 30 days.
Come on, Russell.
Huh.
So unfortunately, his victims were usually elderly residents around Daytona Beach and Edgewater.
Okay.
He would
all
basically find a way to manipulate them and take advantage
right. Yeah,
of
break their fridge.
their
and
good
then
hearts.
Fix their fridge.
Yeah. Well, not exactly.
Oh.
One of the victims was a 78-year-old woman from Ormond Beach.
Mhm.
Mhm.
After him coming to the door and saying that he's a handyman, she invites him inside.
Yeah.
He gave her an estimate to paint and repair and install some new flooring in
Wow.
the house.
Does it
but
all.
yeah, he said he needed $1,100 up front.
Okay.
So she paid him with cash.
I've met so many good handymen, though, for door to door. I hate to put this, knowledge in me now. I'm now not going to trust them.
That's right. That's true.
She ended up, basically she went to her bedroom to get cash.
Yeah.
She came out with $1,100.
Wow.
He kind of randomly would show up that week.
Okay.
So he didn't just take off with the money.
That's good. See?
He would randomly come back during the week, but would come back unannounced,
Yeah.
and kept saying that his phone wasn't working. So he said, well, maybe it's your cell phone. You don't have good service. So why don't you step outside and you can try to call me. So
Wow.
she did.
Bold
and
move.
while he was inside with her outside calling, he went and took another $6,900 from her bedroom
Wow.
in cash.
You think she heard that deadbolt when he locked her out?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be caught going
No,
through all
no,
the
no.
drawers.
No.
Definitely not.
Because then you're busted. But if you go,
Then you're a pervert.
yeah.
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 You're a scam artist and a pervert.
Yeah. So there was other people that have said that he scammed them from money from pressure washing or painting and things like that. He ended up moving up to South Carolina,
Oh, man.
where he posed as a pastor and collected funds for hurricane relief. But I don't think he was planning on handing those out to any.
Did we give him the opportunity, though?
What's this guy's name? Russell Bannister?
Russell Bannister.
I feel like when we have articles like these, we should have like a shame corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
Well, there
we
we go.
just-
We just made it.
Russell, go put your nose in the corner.
Yeah.
Shame corner.
Shame corner, Russell Bannister.
Greg's shame corner.
Yeah. So Greg has to come out of the corner so Russell can go
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
corner.
That's
Exactly.
going to be tough.
Yeah.
All right.
Takes
So
up
the
a lot of
next
space.
That was
headline.
Tyler from where again? Said that?
Kansas City.
Kansas
Tyler
City.
from Kansas City. Love
Do
you,
your
dude.
Kansas City accent, Wayne.
Hello. So
I think that's Adele.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Kansas City Adele, though.
Yeah.
right,
Good.
yeah,
Can you sing any more of it?
sure, yeah. How are you?
Oh, my gosh. Hold on. Close your eyes.
It sounds
It's
just
like
like
you're
her.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Butter,
All right.
baby.
So our next headline is a disgruntled Florida man disables the navigation system on an American Airlines plane
What?
with 150 people on board.
What
Okay.
in the world is going on?
I mean, disgruntled Florida man, that covers everybody.
Yeah, that's literally
So it's like, are
everybody
they
in the
talking about
state.
me?
right.
And then
It could be you still.
disables navigation. I was like, sometimes that chime in your car gets annoying.
Mhm.
And you go,
Right.
just knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said that key word,
American Airlines.
American Airlines.
Come on.
Wasn't you?
These colors don't run.
No. No.
Okay, so this American Airlines mechanic.
Yep.
He works for American Airlines, but he was disgruntled about a union contract.
Right.
He had some kind of negotiation going on with the union contract that
Okay.
they were kind of stalling and all this kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So he was upset about it. What he ended up doing was disabling some kind of navigation system on
Yeah.
there. He
Con
pulled
Air.
he pulled a wire from underneath the nose of the plane near the cockpit
Goodness.
and obstructed it with some kind of hard foam material.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Now, the flight didn't end up taking off.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, because as soon as the pilot started booting up the plane,
Yeah.
some kind of alarm went off.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah.
I played Flight Simulator.
So they ended up pulling everybody off the plane.
Man, he showed them though.
Yeah.
Boom, baby. Now the probably the union. It's like we got to do something.
Exactly.
We
Now-
can't have planes with foam in their noses.
Yeah. Now he's been labeled a terrorist and he's probably going to jail.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is
Guantanamo.
he's still in court now.
Right.
It's funny because a judge asked him during court if he still worked for the airline,
Oof.
and he didn't really say anything. He didn't, but the prosecutor basically said, "Well, it's our understanding that he is going to be suspended without pay." Like, how are you still
Union,
employed?
It's hard to
I
find those
guess
people.
so.
yeah.
That's I
I
guess
mean-
one of the benefits. So he's like, well, crap.
He's upset with the union, but they actually
I
saved
guess
him.
it's pretty good.
So he was just doing it to get their attention, I guess.
I think so,
Yeah.
but still, I mean, you're putting 100. I mean, maybe he knew that the alarm would go off and it actually wouldn't do anything. But
Ideally,
if that's the case, then you knew you were going to get caught.
Why
so
risk it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Doesn't
don't
make any
know. That
sense.
just.
you could grab the wrong wire. You reach up in a plane's nose.
you never know what you're going to get.
You could get double dare snot.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could pull orange flag.
You never
That's
know.
true. You never know.
But I don't think we should put him in the shame corner. Let's leave Russell Bannister in there for a week.
That's fine.
Yeah.
How about the semi shame?
Semi shame is just a smack on the hand and you look at him and go,
Yeah,
Like
and,
that.
and now you can't fly on any planes.
and you can't fly on any planes.
You're-
All right, we'll give him that.
You're a
Okay.
trains only man.
That's a train only man. That's an awesome story though.
Well,
yeah.
not for anybody really.
Well, for him,
I guess so.
because
For-
he got
for
noticed.
us. It's awesome for us.
He got noticed. He's on our show. So
Yeah.
so
Welcome.
He won.
You're famous.
Yeah. But I do feel hooked on those headlines.
I feel pretty buttered up and
Yeah,
hooked.
nice.
I feel buttered up, a little bit discouraged. And so what I'm looking for is to be broken.
Ooh.
I'm eyeballing Joshua.
Okay, I'm eyeballing you.
He's got both hands in a fist,
Mm-hmm.
and his shirt says, I'm going to break you.
Yep. And then
Oof.
those fists are pointed at each of you
Let's go.
at the same time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, fellas, I got a bunch of letters, a bunch of notice.
Like
Y'all,
you do.
you finally unlocked my supervision where I could see what people were communicating us.
Right.
And a lot of people were writing in. You didn't tell me, like,
Well,
Electronically, we keep you away from those.
yeah, I get the physical postage. But,
you've been on restrictions.
so they're all like, love that story about Cam having to burn his old.
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
We're going
So-
there.
Yeah.
Burn his
So
Pokemon cards.
they were
Thanks.
even writing in their own and saying, look how crappy my parent was.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought if you would bless us with just kind of, digging deep, keeping it together, no tears this time, and just tell the new listeners
Okay.
what that story was all about. And
Just
then
like a recap. of
yeah,
my-
and then
my
read
sadness.
one of our favorites that our fans sent in.
Okay, I'll try.
I'm never in this supervisor position where I get to say, you do this.
Oh,
That was
wow.
kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually
I-
Wayne.
when I was a kid, probably 11 or 12, I had Pokemon cards. We traded. I had new ones. All this, I had them all on a binder. Ended up having to burn them. Anyways, super sad still about it. And like Josh said, we got tons of people saying sad stories from their childhood.
His Charizard burned, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Don't bring that up.
I know.
So this story is from Pablo from New York.
Hey,
there were
Pablo.
so many good ones that competed with this one.
Yeah, this is great, though.
I'm going to read it word for word what he said.
Okay.
All right. So in reference to kid trauma, I always wanted a pet as a kid.
Amen.
Okay.
My mom got me a chick to be my pet.
Oof.
Which sounds a little...
Sexy.
I think you meant chicken. One day, my chick grew up nice and fat.
Amen,
Come on.
We took it to grandma's as our apartment was too small for it. That same day, we had chicken soup.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
He said, I ate my pet's leg by the time I realized it was him. God bless her. I don't know if he means God bless the grandma or the chicken.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Both.
Not a lot of people have eaten their own pets.
No.
Pablo.
I would hope not.
Come on, man.
We don't want any more stories about people eating pets.
No,
by the
that
way.
one kind of,
that may trump the Pokemon story, man. Like, I don't. Josh, do you have one of your own from when you were growing up?
Once we started getting all this communication, I was like, well, let me dig deep and see if I got any memories.
Bring the tears.
So I was playing soccer at the time, and I was gonna go out in this competitive league.
Yeah,
and I had to have a physical.
Okay.
So my dad took me to the physical doctor. I mean, he was physically there,
right?
But he was also specialized in physicals,
right,
for boys,
right?
Yeah. So I get there, and I guess I didn't fill out all the forms where it says what sports you play, because I guess that's probably not a question they ask you on those forms.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Where are you getting the physical?" And I'm like, "Oh, sports," and he goes, "Oh, you do horseshoe or bowling?"
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I was like, no, it's soccer. I think my dad even tried in there, and he's like, he plays soccer.
Yeah.
And he goes, you must be a hell of a goalie. And I was like, Jesus, what the heck are all these jokes?
That's so good.
Yeah. So
Josh was a husky child.
Yeah, I shopped in the husky section, and it wasn't about dogs. So I get home, and I beeline it right to the freezer,
right?
Because I got to get my kids' cuisine.
Okay.
Okay.
So open up the freezer, and I had like a stack
of kids'
of my kids' cuisine.
Rich kid.
Boom, gone.
They're all gone.
They're all gone. And I had like bottom middle shelf,
right?
And so I dig through, nothing, not even a sign of them. So I'm thinking probably cleaning lady.
Cleaning lady took them.
She's always eyeing my kids' cuisine. So I go out, and my dad and my stepmom are drinking their wine,
right?
And I go, hey, have y'all seen my kids' cuisines?
And where were they at?
And they were out on the back patio drinking wine by the fire,
right?
And they go, yeah, we wanted to talk to you about that. I had your stepmom pull them out of the freezer because of your physical.
Oh no!
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, here, and he handed them to me, and he made me burn them one by one. And they burned. And it was weird. It was weird watching the little penguin kids' cuisine burn.
So just like Cameron had to burn his Pokemon cards, you had to burn your
My
kids'
cuisine.
cuisines.
Yeah.
That's oddly specific to how Cameron's story ended.
Yeah. Well, who knew? It was probably
so
10
good.
years earlier, but even the one with the s'mores treat, I was like, if I can just get the s'mores while it's burning.
It burned.
The biggest difference between our stories is I never had a cleaning lady when I was a child.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
We didn't have one after that. So I was like,
did you fire her?
oh, well,
Literally.
yeah.
Oh, no. What?
In the fire.
Yeah, when I was little, I was thinking about that. Like, like my parents are pretty protective. And as you guys know, like I was really into Pogs.
Well, I knew you had like really cool style. You were doing your own thing.
Right. I wore Jinkos.
Naturally.
Probably until about 2 or 3 years
Airwalks
ago.
or soaps.
Right. But I had Pogs. I collected. I participated in Pog tournaments. They called me Pogstradamus.
Pogstradamus?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I don't know how that's even
It's just I was so good at it. And if you don't remember Pogs, there's little round things like quarter size, I guess, $half size, and they had a bunch of designs on there. And but I was really into it.
Hologram.
And right,
a special Tupperware was made for them.
Like a case.
Oh yeah.
And I stopped. I was skipping school to play Pogs.
What?
I was staying up late, sneaking
It's
out
hardcore.
to play
Yeah, you
Pogs.
playing by yourself?
Skipping church on Sundays. to play
Pogadocious,
Pogs.
baby.
Pogadosio.
And so one day I'm skipping church to go play Pogs, and I go to the Pog tournament location at the flea market.
Oh my gosh!
And one of the kids meets me at the door, and he goes, "Hey man, like your dad already came by. He wants you to go back home. He knows you're here."
Oh gosh, I would not want to walk that walk.
Right. So I get back to my house, and my parents are sitting around this fire outside.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, I know. And
It must be like in the parents' handbook.
they had all my Pogs piled up outside.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, he's like, I want you to flip these like a quarter one by one
Jeez.
into the fire.
Did you go like into the pod case?
I had to do it
into the fire.
Oh,
one at a time. So it's
Wow.
strange that all three of us had a similar
weird,
story.
Yeah. Death by
Growing
fire.
up.
Super weird.
But honestly, I feel so broken. Joe Fowler was born July 9th, 1894.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to pass on the math on this one.
I know it's over 100.
Okay. If he was alive, he'd be over 100 years old.
Easily.
Perfect.
Easily.
Perfect math.
So Joe was a good turn of the century kid who liked all the stereotypical American boy activities.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He played baseball, he built forts, rode bikes around town looking for stuff to do.
Good old boy.
Good old boy. But the thing that set Joe apart from the other kids in his school was his high level of self-confidence.
Okay.
Really
Yeah,
self-confident guy.
usually parents try to stomp that out.
Yeah.
Right.
Back then.
Burning your stuff.
Well, he wasn't a star athlete, but that didn't stop him from trying out for literally every sport that was offered at school. Okay. He wasn't necessarily the smartest kid, but his teachers said that he studied harder and asked more questions than any other student.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That'd be annoying. I've been in that classroom. That's annoying.
But
That one kid that won't
Gosh,
stop
yeah.
asking questions.
well, just to clarify, like he wasn't making all the teams and he wasn't making the best grades. He just tried harder than everybody else.
As a kid in that class, I don't care that he's not making any class.
Yeah, just
any team.
just hush
stop
up and let
asking.
us get out of here.
We're in geography. She's
Right.
answered you.
The end of the class period. Teacher, you forgot to collect our homework.
Oh yeah, I don't know if he was that guy, but what's interesting is he was such a go-getter that it's led to a pretty neat nickname. Everyone began calling him Can Do,
Can do.
Can do.
like I can do that.
Uh-huh.
So
Can do.
yeah, Can Do. So Joe Can Do Fowler refused to utter
that's
the
terrible.
words cannot.
Oh my gosh.
Right. He was
Oof.
not only an excellent self-motivator, but he was an incredible team motivator.
Wow.
He encouraged folks to go above and beyond whatever the task at hand was. And so just magnetic personality.
Uh-huh.
Really awesome guy. He graduated high school in 1914, and then he went on to study at the United States Naval Academy.
Goodness.
Yeah, so Annapolis is the U.S. Navy school in Maryland,
Uh-huh.
and it's known for its incredibly high standards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's really hard to even get in. So the amount of studying and discipline required just to attend there is insane.
Is this like the West Point of Navy?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
It is. And so, but in 1917, Joe Fowler graduated from Annapolis second in his class.
Sure.
Nice.
Massive,
I guess he-
massive class.
I guess he couldn't do.
Yeah, couldn't
I
do
mean,
it.
he could get number one.
One.
So when he graduated, this guy, like, he already knew how to captain ships, build ships, engineer submarines, but he decided that he wanted to know more. If this is going to be his career, if this is what he's doing with his
Naturally.
What
life,
else is there to know?
he wants to study more. So he applied and qualified for the master's program at MIT.
Okay, here we go.
And when he graduated with a master's degree in naval technology,
Yep.
he was basically this full-blown boat expert.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Wow. Okay.
He knew everything
It's
about
my
it.
dream.
Yeah, shiphead, they call him.
They call him a shiphead. But shortly before he had graduated with his master's degree, a conflict started called World War I.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah. So as soon as he graduates, he's sent overseas to Shanghai, China,
Whoa.
where he supervised the construction and design of these like brand new gunboats.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
Right, kind of bridging like cannon ships with like modern like warships.
Okay.
This was his job. And so while he's in Shanghai, he's not only reinventing Navy architecture and weaponry, but he's also like submerging himself in ancient Chinese culture.
Did you hear that? Submerging.
I heard it.
Thank you.
Man,
I
that was
capitalized it
good.
in my notes. Getting to know the people like in their customs, like he was just really like digging Chinese culture.
Nice.
So Joe Fowler is already an incredible guy.
Yep.
With a great sense of leadership, but this time spent in Eastern culture, like added another level to his patience and understanding,
Goodness.
making him like an
Okay.
even better, like, you know, leader in person.
Yeah, perfect, well-rounded guy.
Right.
Yep.
There were even citizens in China that he would interact with, right, like near the ports and stuff, who went on to say that he was the nicest, like, Western man they'd ever met.
That's probably not a hard bar.
No.
Well, yeah. So I guess he's a pretty nice guy. And so after World War I, he comes back to the United States where President Warren G. Harding assigns him with the task of reimagining American warships.
Wow, that's
That is a big
broad,
order.
A broad task.
Yeah. So, you know,
Reimagine this.
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Here's what we've been doing for years.
Yep.
Make
Do
it
it
different.
different.
Yeah, make it different and better.
Wow.
My wife says that to me all the time.
Yep,
Yeah.
Make it every time.
Make it different and better. So the USS Saratoga and the USS Lexington, they're the massive like aircraft carriers you see on the movies and so on and so forth. Like, right. So basically that's Joe Fowler's design.
Okay.
He was the
Jeez.
one that kind of came
Wow.
up with that. So he's not just building ships, he's reinventing the way the Navy operates.
Wow.
And
Okay.
which was also fascinating because like the rest of the world, I think from that perspective, like watches and models what they do off of what America does.
Yeah. So they go, it floats.
Yeah.
Let's put a gun on it.
And he must be one for buoyancy. I'm not.
No,
but like I
you're not.
always say, whatever floats your boat.
He does. Josh does always say that. So, you know, Joe Fowler's changing the way the world operates on the seas. And so,
With killing in long distance.
right.
Well, the ability to kill within. the
Okay. Yeah. Rescue.
So a few years after this, he goes off to World War II,
No.
his Second World War, and he earns the rank of Admiral, which is the highest rank in the U.S. Navy.
We got to stop talking.
Yeah, he's commanding a fleet. When he returns, he's a war hero, and he's befriended by 3 United States presidents.
Wow.
Like, he's made such a
Goodness.
name for himself,
Yeah.
and he's such a nice guy, just really charismatic that just everybody wants to be around him. And so, President Truman, Eisenhower, and Lyndon B. Johnson all called him a friend. He even went
But
on
did
to.
they call him Can Do?
I don't know if they did that or
I just
not.
want to know if that stuck.
I think it did a little bit because
Admiral Can Do?
he went on to hang out with Edward, the Prince of Wales.
Oh, yeah. I
He
mean,
was also friends with like
he's
top-notch
begging
people.
for friends, though.
Yeah.
He's so needy.
He was. But after 35 years in the Navy, Joe Fowler retired in 1948 at the age of 54.
Okay.
And he spent the next 5 years with his wife, Margaret, kind of relaxing.
Yeah, I hadn't seen her in freaking
I know.
forever.
Reading books on Chinese culture, doing a little traveling, just basically whatever he wanted to do, he's doing it. But he's living the relaxing life, right?
You know, someone had seen him reading a book on Chinese culture, and they're like, "Bro, you should go. You
should-
love it."
He's like, let me tell you a story.
"You got no idea, buddy."
He took some odds and ends jobs designing for the most part, but he was just simply enjoying life. But one day, not long after his 60th birthday, Joe and his wife get invited to a dinner party.
Big
Okay.
60.
Big 60. And so an acquaintance of Joe's approaches after dinner and says, "Hey, like, would you mind coming over here? I've got a friend of mine that really wants to meet you."
If this is an astronaut or something.
And Joe's like, he wants to meet me. Like, okay. And so,
Everybody wants to meet me.
yeah, right. Presidents want
is
to
it
meet
the guy
me.
from Wales again? I've met him.
I know.
He's clingy.
So Joe goes over there, and there's this guy in a suit, and he's sitting down, and he walks over and kind of sarcastically shakes his hand and goes, "I'm Joe Fowler, retired."
Oh, what's a sarcastic handshake? Is that when you lift it and put it by your
Right? Yeah. So
I'm
this
Joe Fowler,
gentleman
Can Do retired.
shakes his hand back and says, "I'm Walt Disney,
Oh
Imagineer."
my
Oh.
goodness. Imagineer.
No longer retired.
So the two sit down
Love
for a
it.
drink, and they just start talking about life and about their work, different designs they've come up with, so on and so forth. And Disney kind of confesses to Joe that he's wanting to build a steamboat, but the problem is he has no idea how to do it.
Okay.
So Joe, he likes this guy, he's enjoying the conversation. He goes, "Yeah, I can definitely help you with that." Well, Walt Disney kind of cuts him off, and he leans in and he whispers to Joe, "Look, man, I'm going to be honest with
Hold
you
on.
about something."
We got to let Cam guess what he whispers because I got a feeling what he whispers.
Then you tell us then.
My name's Walt. Walt will do Disney.
Well, Disney leans in and whispers to the guy, and he says, "I want to be honest with you, but I need you to not tell anybody.
Okay.
I'm building a theme park."
Oh,
And
wow.
I think it's going to be a pretty big deal.
And he goes, "What the heck's a theme park?"
Yeah.
yeah.
And he goes, I would love for you to oversee the construction and the design in its
No
entirety
way.
Of the theme
Okay.
park?
of the theme park in
So
its
he
entirety.
goes from boats to the whole theme park?
So with one dinner
Goodness.
party, Joe Fowler goes from retired United States Navy Admiral to head engineer for Walt Disney Enterprises.
Wow.
That's insane.
Oof.
So the park that Walt Disney was referring to was actually Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
It was the initial park in California. And so,
That cheap place? Ugh,
Oh,
right.
gross.
Robo.
But anyone who knows anything about Disney, especially the theme parks, they know that everything's kind of over the top and extravagant, right? So it takes a big mind to kind of like make these things happen.
Yeah.
And so the design concepts are just kind of like mind blowing. And so with this vibe and style, Disney basically tells Joe Fowler, like, hey, I have these dreams in my head.
Yeah.
You got to make them real life.
He's
Like, I'm
like-
trusting you to
He's
do
like,
this,
"Bro,
right?
They told me to reimagine ships. I think I can handle your theme
Right,
park."
yeah. So there was one instance where the two men were standing on the property, and Walt says to Joe, I'd love to have a stage where performers enter the arena through a waterfall. And the waterfall will kind of open like a curtain. The singers will come through, and then the waterfall will close behind them and kind of stay that way for the rest of their performance.
Honestly, I kind of want that for a podcast studio.
I know. So
So
Walt,
I'd like to be greeted like that.
Yeah, just walk through the waterfall.
so Walt Disney, he said that while he was telling Joe this, he basically knew it was an impossible task, but he wanted him to have an idea of kind of where to start.
Yeah.
But he was surprised because Joe looked him in the eye and without hesitation said, "Can do, sir."
Good.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Here we go.
And
You know, Disney loved that.
oh yeah.
well, Joe
Boing,
did it.
yoing, yoing, yoing.
Exactly. He not only designed and built the waterfall stage exactly as Walt had specified, but he went on to accomplish incredible feats all throughout Disneyland. He built a fully functional railroad, a bed that could fly for the Peter Pan ride,
Naturally.
and giant teacups that would spin on their axis as fast as the guests would have them. So if you've never seen the teacup ride, basically you're sitting in a giant teacup.
Yeah.
The whole platform is spinning, and you've got a wheel inside that allows you to spin a separate direction.
Mhm.
It's
It's got
nauseating.
an odd amount of like friction on
I mean,
it.
yeah.
where you're
The
like,
guy won 2 world wars. I mean, a teacup
well, I
is
don't think it was
that's
him.
nothing.
I don't think it was him alone.
Yeah, it could have been.
It wasn't Can Do Joe.
They were like, we need you to win these wars.
He's like, "Can do."
Can do.
So Walt Disney gave Joe Fowler exactly 1 year to complete the park,
Okay.
and Joe Fowler did it in 11 months.
Jeez.
Goodness.
You would think after all of this, he would kind of retire again.
Yep.
But one evening, Walt asked Joe to come over to his house because he had another idea.
Okay.
And he explained that Disneyland was great. It was performing very well, but he wanted an even bigger, larger than life park.
Amen,
Mhm.
baby.
The problem was finding the land to do so, finding the space to make it happen.
Yep.
So Joe told Walt, I know the place. It's got to be in Florida.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's where we got to be for this new project.
The
So
lawless swamp.
Yeah. Pure.
Right.
Pure misery. We're talking
Yeah.
bugs, humidity, heat.
exactly.
Alligators.
So
Yep.
Walt tells Joe to move to Florida in secret, tell no one but his family, and search for land that could be used for another theme park.
Okay. You feel bad if you're one of Joe's friends. You're like,
Where'd he
what
go?
happened to Joe?
What happened to him?
Can't be a good friend.
Yeah, he's at that
I think
age,
he's
too.
retired again. Yeah,
He's at the age you don't want to just disappear.
I know.
Bro.
So
Silver
basically, what Joe did was he starts buying up land, like in and around Central Florida, under these false corporations.
Nice.
There were these laws in place that where you can only buy a certain amount of property at a time. So Joe, with the help of Walt Disney, set up all these fake LLCs
Nice.
and just starts quietly buying land in Central Florida.
Brilliant.
So after amassing a ton of
Nobody
property,
had thought of this.
apparently not.
Well, I can only be one company, so I guess I'll have 5 acres.
Yeah, I know. So after amassing a ton of property, they break ground on Walt Disney World in 1967. And in the 60s and 70s, Joe Fowler held 3 simultaneous positions within the company. He was the head of engineering, the head of construction, and the chairman of the board for Walt Disney Imagineering.
Jeez.
Goodness. And then the leader of all those companies.
Exactly. So everything in Disney World had to be bigger and better.
Yep.
So Walt said to Joe, literally, you built me a railroad at Disneyland. I want you to do it again in Florida, but build it in the sky. And
Okay.
so in,
Easy.
in 1971, they began construction of Disney's monorail system known as the Highway in the Sky.
Jeez,
Wow.
he built that?
Mhm.
Wow.
Goodness.
So 2 stories tall and moving at 40 miles per hour, Disney's monorail carried tens of thousands of guests in and out of the park every single day.
I didn't respect this guy until now.
I know.
Now,
The
like
boats-
the monorail, bro?
Boats were snooze fest. But Disney.
Boats in a railroad, bro? Grow up.
Disney World also added an island called Tom Sawyer's Island, which featured multiple steamboats, thanks to Joe.
Everybody loved steamboats back then.
Flying elephants, known as Dumbo, and an underwater adventure called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So all this is way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
It's super forward thinking. Joe Fowler finally retires for good from Disney in 1978, but he agreed to stay on as a consultant for another 20 years.
Goodness.
So he worked until he was 98 years old.
What?
Okay.
He only took time off for the last year of his life. He passed away at his home in Orlando at the age of 99, surrounded by his
What?
entire family and 5 great-grandchildren.
Okay.
So around the parks till this day, there are tributes to the Admiral. The harbor that holds all the steamboats in California at the Disneyland park is still called Fowler's Harbor.
Okay.
And the inn on the property is called Fowler's Inn. But in Orlando, one of the main ferries that transports guests from the parking lot to the park is called the Admiral Joe.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
And so this guy spent an entire lifetime building a career as a U.S. Navy admiral, and by all standards could have retired
Yeah.
and been a legend.
Yeah.
But he took 5 years off himself and ended up starting a second lifetime career with his new best friend, Walt Disney.
It's kind of stinky that both of those lifetimes were better than mine.
This guy participated in 2 world wars and built 2 theme parks.
Goodness.
That's-
Can you imagine being his grandson and he's like, yeah, I can't go to practice day. I stubbed my toe. And then
Yeah.
grandpa's like, what?
I'm 98 and I'm still working.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'll
crazy.
kick your butt.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an incredible story about an incredible guy and just an awesome Florida man all around. And I think he had that real can-do attitude.
Can do.
Thank you guys so much for writing in and communicating all week long.
Yes.
Thank you for your donations. Yeah, at fmofm.com on the front page. If you love the show, you can contribute there. It does mean a lot. It keeps the show going.
Yes.
And
it
maybe one day we can save up and buy Greg a microphone.
I'd rather not.
That ball of aluminum foil.
Yeah.
That's fake.
We do love you guys. Our social media platform, across all the platforms, is FMOFM Podcast. If you want to hang out with us, we love you guys. We appreciate you. You're such a blessing. And we'll see you next week.
Can do, baby.